69 energy moved through them, guiding thoughts and actions. The Christ consciousness was returning, not as a savior descending from the sky, but as a collective force uniting humanity with the divine.
A collective force uniting humanity with the divine. That's a powerful image.
It is, and it's a recurring theme in a lot of spiritual teachings, this idea that we're all connected, part of something larger than ourselves.
Absolutely. And that we have the potential to tap into that divine spark within.
Exactly, which is what this whole awakening seems to be about.
So where does that leave us with Alex leading the charge for this new era of Christ consciousness?
That's what it seems like. But of course, there's always a twist.
Oh, I should have known better. Don't leave me hanging now. What's the twist?
Well, the story introduces another character, someone who offers a different perspective on everything Alex thinks he knows.
Ooh, this is getting good. We'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Yes, we will. Stay tuned.
I'm on the edge of my seat. This is why we love these deep dives.
Yeah, too.
So many questions, so much to explore. Can't wait to dig into the rest of this.
Okay, so remember how we left off with Alex, or C, on the verge of this whole global awakening thing?
Yeah, totally. Riding that wave of Christ consciousness, right?
Right. Well, that's when the story introduces a new character named Ezra. He's like this wise sage figure, and he's got some very different ideas about how to find truth.
Ooh, interesting. A different perspective. I like it. What does Ezra say?
So the text says, amidst the cacophony of theories emerged Ezra, a soft-spoken teacher with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. Ezra cautioned the seekers against losing themselves in the labyrinthine twists of the code. Oh, and get this.
What?
He quotes ancient wisdom, saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready.
Ooh, I like that. Very zen.
Right. And then he goes on. True knowledge, he continued, resides within each of you. These codes are but flickering candlelights illuminating a path already etched within your souls. All souls are balanced with the energies known as male and female, entry in the code, a reflection of the divine source. The Almighty whispers the secrets of the universe through your intuition.
Okay, so Ezra's message is more about inner wisdom, intuition. It's a very different approach than Alex's code-cracking mission.
Totally. And the other characters are kind of thrown by it. They're so caught up in the excitement of the codes and the prophecies that they don't quite know what to make of Ezra's more grounded perspective.
They probably think he's going to tell them to start meditating or something.
Well, he does kind of say that, but not in so many words. The text says, the seekers scoffed at Ezra's seemingly simplistic pronouncements. They craved the grandeur, the undeniable power that the codes seem to promise. And then we meet some of these other characters. John, clinging to his interpretations, insisted, the truth is that in Jesus Christ we are never alone and always loved. Entry in the code. These codes are testaments to his divine plan.
Okay, so John's all in on the code as divine revelation.
Exactly. And then there's Adela, who's described as a pragmatist. She says, Gnosis is the key to disabling the subconscious mind controllers. Entry in the code. These codes are the key to unlocking our true potential.
Unlocking our true potential. That's a popular one these days.
It is, but Ezra's not buying it. Ezra, however, remained undeterred. He spoke of a different path, a path illuminated by love, compassion, and a life lived with purpose. And check out this line. It's like something you'd see on an inspirational poster. The key to unlocking the secrets of the universe lies not in deciphering cryptic messages, Ezra insisted, but in attuning yourselves to the symphony of your own existence. Focus on love and peace. Trust God's plan, he advised, quoting another fragment of the code.
Wow, they really do like their inspirational quotes in this parable, don't they?
They do. But it's interesting, right? Because even though Ezra is presented as this voice of reason, the text still uses that same code-like language.
Right. It's like they're trying to bridge the gap between these two seemingly opposing views, the external search for knowledge and the internal journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. And it seems like some of the characters are starting to come around to Ezra's way of thinking. Slowly, a handful of seekers began to heed Ezra's words. They embraced the wisdom of another, which the Dalai Lama mentioned is to practice compassion whenever possible. Entry in the code. Even Alex starts to see things a bit differently. Alex, though hesitant, began to see the codes not as pronouncements of divine favor, but as a call to action. Greatly reduce unnecessary envy and lust in the name of the Holy Spirit, he muttered, thoughtfully referencing another part of the code.
Interesting. So the code takes on a new meaning, not just as information to be decoded, but as a guide for how to live a more fulfilling life.
Right, but it's not all sunshine and roses, of course. Adela, however, remained tethered to the codes, her mind a whirlwind of calculations and theories.
Oh no, poor Adela. She's gone too far down the rabbit hole.
It seems that way, but I guess that's part of the message too, right? That there's a danger in becoming so fixated on finding all the answers that we miss out on the journey itself.
Totally. It's like they say sometimes the journey is the destination.
Exactly. And as the story concludes, it offers this reflection on the whole experience. Years bled into decades, and Apple transformed. Those who embraced Ezra's teachings found a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. The cryptic codes, once seen as pronouncements of fate or divine will, became gentle reminders of the potential that lay dormant within each human heart. Adela, however, grew old and weary, her mind forever entangled in the enigma of the codes. Alex, too, found himself consumed by his interpretations, his faith turning into a brittle cage.
Wow, that's kind of a somber ending.
It is, right? But also kind of thought-provoking, like it makes you wonder, what's the point of all this knowledge if it doesn't lead to some kind of inner transformation?
For sure. It's a good reminder to keep things in balance, not to get so caught up in the search for answers that we forget to live our lives.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of this section of Alex's parable, but there's still more to unpack.
There always is with this kind of stuff. So what's next?
Well, the text goes on to introduce yet another layer to this story. It's like Inception, but with spirituality.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So last we left off, Alex's parable had us on the edge of our seats with this whole gatekeeper thing.
A gatekeeper to the multiverse, no less. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one.
Right. It's like they took everything we talked about, the codes, the prophecies, the Christ consciousness, and threw it into a cosmic blender.
And hit turbo, apparently. So what happens next? Does our wanderer unlock the secrets of the universe?
Well, the text gets pretty wild from here. It talks about how the wanderer has to pass through these 13 flames of transformation and face the 7 trials of wisdom.
Okay, so we've moved even further into symbolic territory here.
Totally. It's like something out of a mystical dream.
So what do the flames and trials represent?
Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. The text doesn't really explain it literally, but I think it's safe to say it's all about spiritual growth and overcoming obstacles.
Right, like a hero's journey, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. And then after all these trials and tribulations,
The wanderer reaches enlightenment, finds the Holy Grail. What?
kind of. Check out this line. He reached into the light, grasping the key of God's code. The air around him sang with a sacred vibration as the gatekeeper's eyes gleamed. You have decoded the matrix. The truth is yours, and with it, you hold the power to reshape the worlds.
Wow. So the wanderer becomes like this master of reality.
That's how it's presented, yeah.
Talk about a power trip.
Right. But then the story ends on a more ambiguous note. And so, as the door to the kingdom swung open, the wanderers stepped into the new dawn, no longer bound by the falsehoods of the past, but illuminated by the infinite love of creation itself.
Okay, so we don't actually know what happens next.
Well,
Typical.
it's like they're leaving it up to us to imagine what lies beyond the door.
Very mysterious. So after all that, where does that leave us? What are we supposed to take away from all of this?
Honestly, I think that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This whole parable with its cryptic codes, its cosmic metaphors, its blending of spiritual traditions, it's a lot to process.
It really is, but isn't that part of what makes it so intriguing? It sparks something in us, even if we can't quite put it into words.
Absolutely. For me, I keep coming back to that tension between Alex's quest for external knowledge and Ezra's message of inner wisdom. Like, which path is the right one?
Right, and then that final part with the gatekeeper and the wanderer almost muddies the waters even more. It's like it's saying, hey, maybe there's something to this idea of decoding the universe, of tapping into these hidden forces.
Exactly. So what's the answer?
I don't think there is one easy answer. But here's something I've been thinking about. Remember that part in the text where it talks about practical spirituality?
Yeah, I was just getting to that. It seemed kind of out of place, sandwiched in there between all the cosmic stuff.
Maybe, maybe not. What if it's the key to tying it all together?
How so?
Well, think about it. On the one hand, you've got this very intellectual, almost academic approach to spirituality, studying gematria, decoding the 369 code, trying to understand the matrix.
Right, like Alex.
Exactly. And then you've got the more experiential, inner-focused path of meditation, compassion, connecting with your intuition, all that good stuff.
Which is more Ezra's style.
Precisely. But what if practical spirituality is about finding a way to bridge those two worlds, to take those big abstract concepts and ground them in a way that actually impacts our daily lives?
Ooh, I like that. So it's not about choosing one path or the other, but about finding a way to integrate them.
Exactly. Maybe it's about using those external tools and teachings as a starting point, but then ultimately realizing that the real transformation happens within. It's about taking what we learn and applying it to our relationships, our work, our creative pursuits, our entire way of being in the world.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like Alex's parable is giving us all these different pieces of the puzzle, but it's up to us to figure out how they fit together.
Exactly. And that's what I find so exciting about exploring these kinds of texts. They don't give us easy answers, but they challenge us to ask bigger questions, to expand our awareness, and to find our own unique path to truth.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Alex's parable. We hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did.
Don't forget to let us know what you think. What resonated with you most? What questions are you still grappling with?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.